Northeast Tonight, brought to you by Oil India Limited, conquering newer horizons.
Hello and welcome to Northeast Tonight, the show that decodes the region. First, the Northeast was gripped by the discourse on the National Register of Citizens, whether it was a correct list or an incorrect one, how names of illegal Bangladeshi migrants may have been included in it, and names of genuine Indian citizens may have been left out, and so on. Then the discourse shifted to the proposed Citizenship Amendment Bill. And finally now, the talk of the town across the region, that is in the Northeast, is the Citizenship Amendment Act. In all of these, the focal point of attention is Bangladesh. If NRC was meant to weed out illegal Bangladeshi migrants, the CAA is meant to provide citizenship to persecuted Hindu minorities from Bangladesh and, of course, some other neighboring countries. But viewers, what do you have to say when the Ministry of Home Affairs of the Government of India officially confirms that illegal migration from Bangladesh into our country is still going on? Yes, that is what the Crime in India 2018 report of the Union Home Ministry Agency, the National Crime Records Bureau, has revealed. It says between January 1, 2018 and December 31, 2018, there were 529 cases of infiltration into India from Bangladesh, where the security forces had arrested 1,118 illegal migrants. Viewers, this is not a question of numbers. This is only the recorded number of cases that we are talking about. What about those unrecorded cases of migration who have successfully infiltrated into India? Now, these and several questions arise. Why have we failed to tackle the root cause that has triggered the murky politics of citizenship in Northeast, which is illegal influx from Bangladesh? Why can't we stop illegal migration into India from Bangladesh? Is it because of New Delhi's excellent bilateral ties with Dhaka that we do not raise this issue? Or is it a failure on our part to manage our border and seal it so as to prevent illegal influx? To discuss the issue, I am joined by former MP Mr. Kirib Chaliha, Assam BJP spokesman Mr. Rupam Goswami, State Congress leader Mr. Duzen Sharma, Guwahati University professor Dr. Akhil Ranjan Datta, and political analyst Swapnil Borwa, and of course we have with us commentator Shamkanu Mohanto. Gentlemen, welcome to Northeast Tonight. Now let me start with you, first of all, Shamkanu Mohanto. You know, this is the report. Viewers, this is the report. This is the exact page from the, Crime in India 2018 report by the National Crime Records Bureau. It's an outfit of the Ministry of Home Affairs. It says that 529 cases, in 2018, 11, that is the report, that is the relevant page. You can see that mark, 529 pages, 1,118 people arrested. The question is not that. Question is, this is just an official statistics and recorded cases. What about unrecorded? So several questions arise. Why have we not failed to, stop influx? Is that not the root cause?
I think this whole issue is about politics, about the entire structure of Assam politics and the entire Northeast for the last many, many years. This shows a real apathy and failures on the part of government. A very small border. If you look at Assam, I was looking at 262-kilometer border. A lot of river and border also. River is difficult. But the smart fencing they have been talking about for a long period of time. But smart fencing has not been executed so far. I feel that there is a lack of proper implementation in terms of border fencing. And most importantly, political will needs to be stronger. Political will needs to be stronger. So far, it's still Assam Accord, and everybody is talking about border fencing has not been achieved so far. I think for that I I take whole responsibility both with Assam government as well as Home Ministry.
Okay, lack of political will, and you hold both the
And
state and the government
lack
responsible.
of implementation capability. I think political will is there in terms of willing to do it,
Yeah.
but lack of implementation, especially the riverine areas of border, where the problem lies mostly in the riverine area.
You mean to say lack of technology as
lack of technology. We need
Lack of
technology
technology.
and implementation capability to execute.
Okay, I'll come back. Mr. Krib Chalia, from your wide experience as a veteran politician, as an MP from the state, what are your thoughts today? This is an official report of the Union Home Ministry, nothing less than that.
See, there are moments when you feel like being sarcastic, even on issues of national security. Even though issues create and endanger social coexistence of communities, even when it leads to ethnic tensions and conflicts, even when it endangers the most vital question of border management, which is because of which to safeguard the border you employ army, you employ paramilitary forces, and all these things get endangered. Unfortunately, well, my friend was talking about political will.
Yeah.
I'm appalled by political ignorance. I'm appalled by a lack of understanding about the urgency of managing the border.
What is the point you are trying to make, the main point?
The main point is, this is happening, the influx is happening now, it's coming on, trickling. But you know, there are countries treat even infiltration or entry of one illegal
Seriously.
infiltrant to be a danger to the country's security. And here we are made to live with it. We are made to think about, condoning these infiltrations, these illegal migrations. So we are in a very helpless situation, to be very honest. And we feel very agitated. And when you feel agitated, we feel like blaming ourselves. The politicians are to be blamed mostly because of what is happening, because of the mess we are in.
Duzen Sharma, politicians are to be blamed for what is happening. This is an official report. We are not talking about some think tank report or NGO report or some opposition political party. This is the government report. Infiltration is going on. Your party was in power for 15 years, so you cannot blame the BJP. Let us not talk about BJP Congress. This is an issue of national security. This is a demographic invasion that is threatening the very identity of the people of Assam. So what do you have to say as a responsible political leader?
No, I agree. My party was in power for a long time. And it was the Congress party's government who started the fencing between Bangladesh and India after the accord also. So I believe that fencing was not taken seriously, and border is not sealed till now. Not only river and border, there are other borders I have seen in Tripura and other places also. There are open border, and people can cross over very easily.
Yeah.
So this is the situation for which this influx is going on, and a lot of influx is going on till today.
All right.
And I believe it is continuing for a long time. And last 5 years also the border is not completed. So that is the main cause of influx.
So, Mr. Swapnil Barua, Mr. Duzen Sharma is relieved that the fencing was started during the regime of the Congress. 15 years they could not complete the fencing, and he is relieved over the fact that in the last 5 years of BJP rule also the fencing could not be complete. So that's a relief for the Congress. But as a political analyst, how do you look at it?
Well, basically, see, I think the issue, so far as you are talking about, is criminals. And we are sort of taking the discussion towards mass migration. I think there is a subtle difference in between the crime figures that have come up featured here. And as I said, and I still hold the view that there is no fence in the world which is not breachable. And so long as situations on both sides of the border continue to be such that there will be certain economic activities beneficial to people on both sides of the border, this kind of criminal influx will continue. And there is also outfluxes which apparently have not been reflected here. Because I have seen for myself in the Gwalpara sector or even in the Silchar sector that cattle rustling is one of the most important crimes that happen on both sides of the border, and you have people coming in, getting caught. Sometimes they don't get caught. Mostly they don't get caught.
Yeah.
But as I say, fence is not the solution. I think we'll have to follow the Chinese example of how they have developed the Burma and China had that, Myanmar had that kind of a problem. So to solve the issue permanently, it was China which has gone and tried to develop this Myanmar side of the border so that this kind of exchange of people or economic
So
interests.
basically what you were saying is that you have to develop the border regions both on our side as well as on the
Yes, and
across
that
the
is
border.
what I feel. And no fence can prevent any people from coming over or going over. We must not forget that there was a border trade existing, it still exists.
Okay.
And the expansion, the border trade has now expanded. What was simply dealing in supari and pan has now gone into limestone, has got into boulders being taken from Bhutan through Dhubri into Bangladesh through Manihari Ghat for building the national highway network in Bangladesh. So these kind of activities are going up.
Okay. No fence. So basic point you were making is that you have to develop the bordering regions in all the neighboring countries so as to stop influx, particularly with Bangladesh, and a fence cannot stop influx. I'll come to you for your final response on the opening remarks, Rupam Goswami. But Dr. Akhil Ranjan Datta, you know, we are talking about a report by the National Crime Records Bureau. We said that in 2018 there were 529 cases and 1100 odd people have been arrested coming into India from Bangladesh. Now these are only official figures, these are recorded cases. What about the unrecorded cases? The question is, why is infiltration still going on? Mr. Swapnalin Barua said these are only crime figures and we should be worried only when there is mass migration. Are we waiting for mass migration to happen? What is going on? Are we waiting for that after so many years? 6-year-long agitation, 850 people being dead, an accord being signed 35 years later. Are we waiting for mass migration? Is it not alarm bells that migration is still going on?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of issues involved in this. When we discussed this issue in one of the last episodes and we had the opportunity of talking about these issues, I think there are three critical issues involved here. One is the human dimension, second is the economic dimension, third is the political dimension. Now, political dimension is very, very important here. The government of India knows it very well that the migration, whether it is a mass migration or is a migration in a sporadic manner, 1%, 2%, 100%, so on and so forth, will have immediate provocation on the part of on the people here, who have been fighting against the migration. Now, government of India has not taken it seriously, the concerns of the people, the emotions of the people, the implications of the people. The government has not taken it very seriously. Now the government of India is in a very, very vulnerable situation. Once after the enactment of CA, when the Bangladesh government reportedly have said that there has not been any torture on the religious minorities, and the government of India hasn't done well by enacting this act, I think government of India will also be in a very vulnerable situation in dealing with this issue in a bilateral manner.
Akhil,
they are not going to take it very seriously.
Yes, carry on.
Therefore,
Akhil, one point I'd like to make is that although the border is being discussed and Bangladesh is being discussed, is there a situation where let's say the mainstream people here, even in Assam, who are so concerned about the influx issue, have really taken the trouble of visiting the border or ensuring or pressurizing the government to see that things happen? I mean, I feel that we talk this is a table talk discussion, and really the ground reality is on the border, where the influx is taking place is not being taken seriously even by the people who seem to be more concerned about the consequences of this migration.
Yes, Kripchalia wants to make a point. Akhil, hold on.
That is what I was telling.
Mr. Akhil, hold on. Mr. Kripchalia wants to make
one answer to what my friend was saying. People don't have the responsibility to look after the borders. You don't have to visit a border. Sorry. I mean, I may be understanding wrongly. I think what you said implied.
No, I'm talking about the concern.
I can't go to the border to look after the border problems in border. I don't have to. I don't have to go there and see. We can discuss from this problem. So this analysis.
There should be disinterested curiosity at the level of.
We all blame our politicians. I also take my own blame as a politician. But I'm saying bureaucratic distortion. is also a very dangerous thing.
As an organization, ASU has been opposing.
Let me tell
ASU
you.
has been talking about the border
Visiting
fencing
also.
for a long period of time. So I feel that this issue is known to everyone. And the border is a substantial portion of border. If you see the numbers, around 80% border has been completed. It's a last mile issue. The last mile issue has been pending for a long time. That is an only issue. The last mile
No, you
border
question,
connection.
that's true, it's a last mile issue,
Last
but
mile.
why should it be pending for so long? Rupam Goswami
Yeah, Rupam Goswami has to
is the
answer.
Assam BJP spokesman, ruling party. One of the we have seen the AGP being born only on this issue to free Assam from foreign nationals. And now we have the BJP government, popularly elected government, with a massive mandate in 2016. Now, question is, people will definitely ask you this question. What have you done in the last 5 years in the center and last 4 years in Assam? So people will ask this question. So I'm sure you have a very, very solid response. Please respond.
Look, first of all, we always wants to blame others. Like Kiribda, he was also an MP for 5 years representing Guwahati constituency.
10 years, 10 years.
10 years. Sorry.
10 years.
Sorry.
Don't forget that.
Sorry. So 10 years. So on his part, what he has done for this,
Oh my
number
God,
one.
yes.
At the same time, India got independence in 1947. Most of the time, Congress ruled. My friend,
No,
or my brother,
are we talking about Congress and BJP?
No, not at all, not at all. I'm talking also,
So
just give me some
you are
time.
in power.
No,
Your party is in power.
Yeah, okay.
Why are you blaming others now?
Just hear my whole
Yeah, well,
talk. Just hear my whole.
Please carry on. Please
Yeah.
carry on.
So,
Please carry on.
Dizenda said, after the Assam Accord, we have started the fencing. That means, prior to that, almost 38 years.
No, I have not said that.
Just hold on. 47 to 85. I'm
Rupam
just
Goswami,
discussing-
we cannot. Let us. We have the elections in
you
Assam
always
in
interrupt
2021.
me.
2021.
Very
No,
seriously.
I will give you full
I'm
time.
coming.
Please speak. But people are asking. Let us bring it down to the last 5 to 4 years, 4 to 5 years.
Everything I will bring it out because that history has to be, history will definitely come in.
No, you are saying that Congress has failed.
No,
so
no,
that is the
not
history.
government.
That is the
Government.
history.
If Congress has
MP has failed, Congress has failed.
who
Yeah.
has
Now-
done the fencing work?
Just
No, there is no doubt that Congress has failed.
Yeah,
just
That
wait.
is. Can you start after that?
Yeah.
Congress has failed in
Obviously,
completing the fencing.
every time nobody is giving much importance on these borders, but what I believe that border trade is very much important to solve these issues. Not by building, like Swapnilda said, not by building fencing or riverine,
Okay.
smart fencing will solve
So
the problem.
fencing-
But a trade relation in the border trading is important, for which Government of India, Commerce Ministry already started building.
Shyam Kanu Monto, Shyam Kanu, I have to interrupt.
See, border
Shyam
trade
Kanu Monto,
happens-
forget the fence, dump the fence in the Brahmaputra, and now only do nothing but border trade.
See,
You
there
have-
there
you
too,
have
there's a
twisted.
land customs
I'm not saying
station.
that.
Land customs
I'm not
station
talking
through who border
that's
trade
needed.
takes place. But border trades are taking place right now through land customs station in Akhura in Tripura, in Karimganj, and few other locations. So border trade is happening in a legal way. The issue is that let us face it. Let us face it. I talk beyond politics here.
Yeah, please. This
Let's
is an
talk-
issue
let-
beyond
let's-
politics.
let's talk
This
beyond
is
politics.
an issue beyond
This is an
politics.
issue. This has to be addressed. This has to be addressed. There's two ways. One is that, see, there's two kind of things. Recently, another development is happening. People are going towards the cross migration. They are going to the Bangladesh side also. But that means there is definitely a
No,
leakage.
but let me put the record straight. The Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has only recently said that there is no reverse migration from India into Bangladesh.
Recently
She has
found-
said. The Prime Minister of Bangladesh said there is no migration from India into Bangladesh.
I hope it happens. I hope our immigrants goes there. See, this is my personal hope and
Okay, hope.
But beyond this, it is about a technological issue. Let's face it. We have to finish this border fencing. It's no big deal. It's a very, very possible deal. Somebody has to do it. Work has been done for last 5-6 years. Substantial work has been done. In fact, during the Congress region later part, the work has
Even the
started.
river line is almost complete.
Almost the things like smart fencing
fencing.
work is going on, but somehow it has to end. Now, recently the Pradut Dev Burma's video, that is very alarming actually. If
Yes,
it is true live,
we had a full debate on this channel.
It's a true live thing. There lies the issue is. I think another interesting thing, main border fence is around 760 kilometer is in Tripura, around 240 kilometer in Assam and 346 kilometer. So issue of migration is bigger issue from Tripura. Bigger issue is Tripura. That is where a lot of political implication about CA and other things. What I'm trying to tell here is that this work has to end. And for that, Home Ministry and Assam government has to sit down.
Exactly, this work cannot go on forever. Dr. Akhilanjan Datta, while the entire state for the last 35 years, Akhilanjan Datta, let me contextualize this for your response. Last 35 years, Assam has been doing nothing, but we have been indulging in the politics of citizenship. Elections have been won, elections have been lost on this particular issue. Even today, in 21 elections, I'm sure this is going to be the key issue. Now, the point is, then why are the success? It's not a BJP versus Congress. It's not that at all. Let me be very clear. Now, why has the governments failed to come up with, when we have technology, when we have unmanned space mission, why can't we, just seal the border? Why can't we erect a fence? Is it such a great thing to erect a fence?
See, I don't think that it is only Congress versus BJP. It has become state versus the people. The government versus the people. Government has been pushing the people live only with the issue of migration or only with the issue of illegal migration is very, very unfortunate. We have to move on. We have to come out of it. Therefore, I think the government has to take it very seriously. But as Sapnanil Borua has said, that you cannot stop migration only by fencing the borders, and we have to be very, very clear about it. And I mentioned it, and Shyamkandu Mohanto has also referred to it. We have to develop the border as community friendly. This is very, very important. Unless and until we can develop the borders into as community friendly borders, we cannot just stop the migration.
Okay.
Because there are economies here. There are people living there. You cannot just ignore the fact those are also the people who are living there, who are struggling their lives, who have been trying to earn their livelihoods and so on and so forth. Therefore, this is very, very important.
Absolutely, Dr. Akhilanjan Datta, very, very well said. I will seek a response to this question from all my. I will seek a response to this question from all my panelists. But first, I'm asking you, Mr. Rupam Goswami. You have to. You cannot be on a. Let's not be on a denial mode today. Let us face it. You see, the Assam government. Let's take the government of Assam. What is your border management policy? There was this talk of putting a second line of defense because you cannot depend, because the border sealing, it's a very misnomer. You cannot seal the border by putting one man in every inch of the border. That is not possible. The distance between the two border posts is quite vast. People can trickle in and trickle out. Now the question is, then there was this proposition of having a second line of defense by settling ex-servicemen or some other people. That has also not been done. Border development. Improving the economy and the border areas, there is no connectivity, there is no good proper border roads. Even for the BSF to move around along the border, this is an issue. So what has the government? Government is talking about only interested in doing politics over this issue, but real thing on the ground, where is it? We have not seen anything. Let us not be on a denial mode. If we can take this suggestion to the government of Assam, we'll be happy.
I think you will not interrupt me in between.
I will not.
Let me give my opinion.
Yes.
Look,
but straight to the point.
Obviously, definitely I am talking to the point because this is an issue. It's not, the issue has not been created within 4 or 5 years. It is a long issue after independence. So definitely the government of India is working on the borderline. Even this river line, we have started this riverine smart fencing and it is almost completed. Now just need to start only. So that is the part where we have worked. At the same time, we are really thinking and working on this border huts by the Commerce Ministry because we are trying to do a concrete solution to it from all angles. Even we have the land, between Bangladesh and India, we have sorted out that problem also. The border problem also we have sorted out. That has been sorted. It's not that we are not at all working. We are working, but because this is an international border or the international matter, it really takes time. Because there so many years the other governments could not have been done.
So if I compare my
5 years is too less.
Yeah, obviously it's too less. But we
So-
are really working on it.
That is the issue. If the Congress has not done it in 15 years, how can the BJP do in 5 years? That is that your logic, Krupang Goswami?
No, obvious. This
You
is
should
this
also
is-
take at least 15
no,
years.
No, it's not like that. We are working continuously. We are working. We are working for this floodlight also. I think within
Okay.
very short time, maybe
We
one
will
year.
hope for the best if the floodlight comes.
Yeah, it will come.
But I'm coming to you, Dr. Akhil Ranjan Datta and Shyamkanta Mohanto, but Mr. Kirip Shalia. You see, sometimes the political class, they do not want an issue to be solved. You know, it helps them to let the issue fester so that you can keep on scoring brownie points and go to the elections year after year, again and again, term after term, harping on the same issue and giving promises to the voters. This is not peculiar to the BJP or the Congress. Every political party does the same thing.
I'll just digress a little if you permit me. I'm sorry, but it's relevant. There is a falls called Niagara Falls, where my friend will know there is a program called Maid of the Mist. It's a ride where the people going for honeymoon or before when falling in love, they go for that boat ride. And the Niagara Falls, the water that falls, that comes dripping back like rains. Everybody goes. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And it falls exactly on the border of
Canada and US. Yes.
Now, Canada is also a very developed country. US is also a developed country. There, the ethnic composition is also very much same. But you know better than me, Wasbir. A person crossing Niagara Falls from this side to other side is immediately arrested by the police. If anybody crosses at very funny time, he may even get shot. Border fencing and border crossing is a very dangerous violation of a country's sovereignty. It can't be just brushed aside. That is why the NCRB report that you have quoted me has to be taken very seriously. And we can't take it as a particular party's political agenda or something. No, it's a national protection measure.
Yes.
A country has to employ border security forces, military, army, and checkposts, and what for what? Because a violation of one man also may cause danger to the country. In this context, it's also it could be a defeatist attitude to in today's context to say that no mechanism can, no steps can prevent in further influx.
Okay.
Technology has advanced so much now.
Yes. Now that is what
that can also be done. But what I'm saying is, it is not only because of encouragement or for cattle theft or whatever could be the reasons. Any violation of border crossing has to be stopped because of the country's internal security and external security.
Absolutely.
And we can't
Mr. Kirip Shalia there making an important point. He is harping on the point of national security. When I come back after this very short break, we'll talk on what kind of a national security threat these kind of cross-border migrations can pose for a country like India, and in that too a sensitive region like the northeastern frontier. I'll go for a short break. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Shyamkanta Mohanto, I'm coming to you, Dr. Akhil Ranjan Datta. Shyamkanta Mohanto, Mr. Kirip Shalia is raising a national security issue. But again, there has been suggestions that, this is basically an economic issue, why people cross borders. And it is India's, ball is in India's court to improve the economy inside Bangladesh. But today, Bangladesh is getting lot of global aid. The Bangladesh economy is also showing signs of improvement. Do you think even the Chinese are getting a lot of influence in Myanmar as well as in Bangladesh? They are trying to make a stand. So where does trade and commerce, do you think that can be a key driving force to stop influx?
The Guwahati-Dhaka flight did not click.
Yeah.
Because as I told you, the informal trade is much more than formal trade with Bangladesh and India. There's a lot of drugs trafficking happening, and cattle smuggling is a major issue. Cattle smuggling is a major issue. So if you talk about an open border creates a lot of issues in terms of economy of India. informal trade becomes much bigger than a formal trade. We want trade with Bangladesh, but it through Dauki, it through the Akhora, and it through Karimganj, Chutrakandi. But it is happening illegally, and that is affecting entire economy of Assam and the northeast. So first thing is that this, as I told you, first issue, we should block this border fencing. Second issue is also creating a border area around this. It's very much possible. There are a lot of money in the allotted under border area development. If we can create the border area development, our border people can check this border influx. You know, influx is also cannot be controlled only through machine. It's through public participation. It can be controlled. The third issue is that political. Political, as has been discussed by you very relevantly, the Assam politics it has been about Bangladesh. If Bangladesh was not there, a lot of our leaders would have never been born. So I feel that politically sometimes I feel that this election 2021 is all about Bangladesh immigration. Let me tell you quite clearly, today I am telling you 2021 election will be about NRC, about CA and other stuff. So I feel this is where the political will sometimes is not enough to solve this issue. But I feel beyond this platform, we must talk about first, let us finish it off. Let us finish this off technically. It is very easy to do it. Somebody has to pull it through. Second, the border area development and cross-border relationship from both sides. It benefits both sides.
It benefits both sides. Now, Dr. Akhilranjan Datta, isn't it ironical? Isn't it an irony that, in the last 20 to 25 years, India-Bangladesh relations have never been as good as it is now under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Under the NDA, Awami League relations have been very good. And, the India-Bangladesh ties have been the best in the past 20 years. And that is under the leadership of Narendra Modi. Despite that, why have we not been able to resolve these kind of tricky and sensitive issues? That is the big question.
I think that has not been taken that seriously, and multiple strategies have not been explored. Had the government exercised a lot of alternatives to, come out with some solutions, this problem could have been minimized. Let me give you an example. Probably I was giving this example in some of the earlier episodes, earlier debates. I was there in the Myanmar-Thailand border, Mesot city. That was a very critical issue. That was a very sensitive issue. There was a lot of violence in Myanmar. Therefore, there was a huge influx of people to Thailand. But the Thailand government and Myanmar government, looked for a lot of alternative strategies. And one of the important strategies that they had adopted was to allow the people to cross border, but through legal means, not through illegal means. There were provisions of giving, 1 day permit, 2 days permit, 1 week permit, and so on and so forth. Now, because government of India and government of Bangladesh have very good, very healthy bilateral relations, apart from thinking about the fencing, apart from thinking in terms of, preventing people from coming to this side or go to that side, the government, whichever party is in power, government should think in terms of not preventing people to move, but allowing people to move through legal means. Unless and until we explore these strategies, I don't think that we'll be in a position to solve this issue of migration.
Okay, Dvijen Sharma, Dr. Akhilranjan Datta is saying that, basically people should be allowed to move through legal means, but there is no bar. Nobody has put a ban because there was a flight service which did not click between Dhaka because there were no people. Because obviously when you have an airways...
No, you don't talk to me about the flight service. I am talking about the people living in the market.
I know, cross-border movement.
Who will be using flight?
Cross-border, I can understand what you're talking about. But we are saying that,
you and me, not...
No, there has to be... I quite understood what Akhilranjan Datta is saying. He's talking about cross-border movement of people. But for what purpose? There has to be a purpose, there has to be a reason that should enable people to move between one country and another. What is the trigger? What is the pull factor? Is it that, border trade? Is it you have a huge negative list? The balance of trade is heavily tilted in favor of India. So there were a lot of negative lists where you are not allowing things to come in. So these are some of the issues that are being solved. The government of India is dealing with these issues. They are trying to resolve these issues. That is a different issue. But Dvijen Sharma, what do you have to say?
No, I have to say, Akhilranjan Datta has rightly said that there must have dialogue between the two governments. And I fail to understand how many times our Indian leaders have gone to Bangladesh, visited Bangladesh, including the Prime Minister of India for last 6 years. And how many times they have discussed about this problem seriously, about the influx in Assam and northeastern region, and other problem facing in the border. So if there should have a understanding of coming and going legally, that should have been discussed by the government. But I understand, I believe till now, the government for last 6 years, 7 years, government has not discussed anything else with the Bangladesh government. For which Bangladesh, now let me talk, you will talk. For which Bangladesh government is saying all the time that there is no infiltrator from Bangladesh to India, and we have no concern with the NRC and CA, what is happening in India. And Indian government is also saying that it is internal matter. So government must take initiative to stop this illegal migration. Legally, if somebody comes for work or somebody else.
That's a different issue. Swapnil Barua?
My experience about this border, you know, this 10-minute business of getting your passport stamp in an airport, if you go to the Dauki border, it takes you 2 hours on this side and 2 hours on the other side. It's such a bitter experience that, and then imagine the distances. Border trade is happening all along these 222 kilometers, and there are only 1 or 2 points where you can legally go across and come across.
So that is the point that I was making, that illegal trade is much more than the legal trade.
So basically what we have to really think is that, in fact, I had written to the ambassador, who's now the Indian ambassador to the US, that please take up, or it's the Foreign Secretary designate, Mr. Shringla, that please take up this issue and try to solve it, that you can't have a register operating in to note down your thing and you queue and do those kind of things. So the distance in between since the border huts have been attended to by the Commerce Ministry, I think the Ministry of External Affairs should be equally more concerned to see that legal ways of crossing the border, or crossover points should be coming.
No, I just want to make a point. As the Dijan Sharma said, there has been no talks between Bangladesh and present government of India. It's not true, and there are lots of MOUs that been also signed, and lots of time Narendra Modi and their Prime Minister, they also had lots of talks. Even the Foreign External Minister also, they and Commerce Minister, they are always in touch with this Bangladesh government. And moreover, what Wasbir, I feel that as because this problem has not been addressed since very long, and we are one country once upon a time, and as because there was not much about this consciousness about the border people, so they feel it very like, okay, you can cross this, go to India and do some business and come back, then we can.
Yes, that happened in Karimganj border.
That is very, very easily they think like that. So I think that is also one of the root cause, because during that time nobody thought very sincerely about this part, especially Bangladesh part, because India government was helping the Bangladesh for their independence. So that is also one of the reasons. And moreover, one more thing is that most of the people are almost relative. You know, when this Bangladesh, Pakistan was created, most of the half of the relatives lives there in Bangladesh. Now Bangladesh, then Pakistan, and rest. So this is also one of the reasons.
Okay, now, Mr. Karib Shalia, every time you interview a top visiting Bangladeshi authority, whether it is a politician or a bureaucrat, they claim on Indian territory, on Indian soil, they have done that twice to me. They have said that your government, that is the government of India, has never ever taken up the issue of illegal migration with us. Now, that fact that India has not denied this is a different issue. I am asking you a question. On what basis do you think the Bangladeshis make such comments so firmly, saying that your government has not taken up the issue of illegal migration with India? You are saying that it's a big issue, but your government has not taken up this matter with us? Never. So this is the official stand of the government of Bangladesh even today.
When we ourselves, in Assam, we ourselves tend to belittle the menace of infiltration and say this could be because of cattle trades or this or that. When we ourselves give so many explanations that no, if we have formal border trade or whatnot, exchanges and all that, when we ourselves do that, when we ourselves say that, well, certain amount of people have started coming only after formation of Bangladesh, forgetting that there was infiltration at the time of East Pakistan also. At that time, countries were hostile. The fact is that we are such an ignorant people here among the so-called elites. Forget the ordinary people. But let me tell you, I'll also say.
What have you done when you were in power?
Can I? No, I'm making a.
Actually, what we have done when you were in power. Now you are giving a big lecture, but you have done nothing.
Can I? I think
when you have the power, you have done nothing.
One MP cannot do anything.
No.
He can raise it in the parliament. No, this is wrong.
Can I, Mr. Goswami?
Congress was done.
Please. I can defend myself. Allow me to defend. Mr. Goswami, we are not in this chair or in this conversation to judge myself or yourself. We are judging a national issue. Please talk in that line. Individual issues, you are welcome to talk anywhere with me.
Because we have to walk.
So
who else will walk?
If you
being
just
a parliament, you are parliament for.
If you have no knowledge about what the parliament is, I don't know. Parliament. You
can obviously pressurize your prime minister.
Have you ever read any speech in the parliament of any
Okay, let's not go into personal. Let's stick to the issue.
Yes, more knowledgeable.
No, let us
more knowledgeable.
stop the
I'm a
interruption.
simple
No.
person.
Okay.
But at least
A
you
simple
have,
person
you
should
have
allow us to
100,
speak.
you have 10
Then you
years of
listen to our
work.
wisdom.
How do you know he has not raised this
No,
issue
let us
in
not.
parliament?
Let's stick to the point. Let's stick to the point. Yes,
But you have not done any
So,
work.
It was raised.
Bangladesh-
Whole Congress, what they
I
have
cannot
done.
accept.
No, it was Congress.
Please ignore. There are certain things which can be ignored, which should be ignored.
No,
So I'm saying,
ignoring. You people are only ignoring. You have only used
I'm
it as
saying,
the
Bangladesh.
That's why you have not done anything for that.
No, let him speak.
Rupam
Let
is
him
very
speak.
angry today. Let him
Not
speak.
because of angry,
You
Dada.
can continue. You can continue your attack, but audience wants to hear something different, more
You are
descriptive.
speaking in such a way.
The
No,
audience wants to hear something.
let's stick to the point. Let's stick to the
Responsibility was
point.
given to you by the people of Assam.
No, Kripchalia, be brief. What is the point you are making? What is the point you are making, Kripchalia? Be brief.
I'm saying that, yes, it's also a fact. It's a fact, as my younger brother said, Shamkano, that many leaders would have not have been born had Bangladesh been not there. That is also a fact. That includes us, all of us. But then, had Bangladesh not been there, the heart of many women's soul would not have dried up. Many people would have died. Many people would have died. So what I'm saying is there are two aspects. You just don't look at certain things and take superficial generalizations.
Yeah, what is the point?
What is happening is...
Yeah, what is the point?
I'm saying that superficial analysis and generalization has become a way to escape responsibility or make correct analysis. Blame yourself, blame him, put the blame on somebody.
So
that
you are
doesn't
saying-
solve our problem. I am saying...
So you are basically saying that it's a huge national security
It
issue
is a national
that cannot
security
be
issue. Let us
ignored.
talk it.
Okay,
It
national
has to be
security
done
issue.
above individual.
Okay, I'm coming
above
to you, but
individual.
Shamkana
An
Mondo, I
MP
want to
cannot
make
do
a point.
anything.
Let
Shamkana
Mondo make a point.
Let us make an unified attempt to solve
All
this
right,
problem.
point noted.
Wasbir, your question was that why
Let the
India has not been
politicians
able to take up
debate on
strongly
it.
with Bangladesh. The first answer is Bangladesh has become a very critical cog in India's wheel. Because of security situation, Bangladesh has become very critical with Chinese involvement in the entire zone.
Yeah.
So India cannot offend Bangladesh. They have strong bargaining power over India. That is the reason whatever we do, we cannot antagonize Bangladesh. That is number one. Strategically, politically, in terms of Indian political landscape. So that is why Bangladesh is more... I don't know why India has not really taken up the infiltration issue. In terms of deportation, was never discussed. Let's be realistic, when our people say about deportation, was never discussed. That is the first thing. The second perspective, I want to say that Bangladesh is really growing fast. 8% is the GDP of Bangladesh, and our GDP is 4%. And I think Assam's GDP will be lower. At this moment of time, don't be surprised if cross migration happens. So there's whole dynamics are going to change in these two aspects. One is I'm expecting Indian from Northeast people might go back to Bangladesh as the economic situation improves and their agriculture improving substantially. And their textile industry is doing extremely well. That is the first plus point I want to address. I'm very happy that people go there. But there's another negative part. The negative part is that water level is rising. Is the water level rise
climate change.
If the water level in Bangladesh rise to a danger level, that has another migration issue. So basic thing as of now, if you ask me, this is a critical national issue. This boundary
That's a
issue
very
has to
interesting
be,
point.
Boundary issue has to be handled first. one is that technologically, second is through mines, as I say, border area development, mine development, and cross-border interaction is possible.
That is a very significant point. Very significant point. Shyamkanta Mohanto is taking rising of water levels because Bangladesh is part of the Asian mega delta, and because of the climate change, the water level is rising, and this is what is happening. The situation
looking for a high-rise place.
So that could lead to further migration, and this could be water migration that will add to our problems. Now, Akhil Ranjan Datta, how do you look at the unfolding scenario possibilities? What are the possible scenarios if we don't do anything?
See what Shyamkanta Mohanto, if Shyamkanta Mohanto has, pointed out a very vital issue. As I said earlier too, we have completed a study on, migration in South Asia, poverty and inequality. We are trying to look at the whole migration issue in all 8 countries in the region, and Bangladesh has been one. Now, Bangladesh is developing, but remember, Bangladesh is developing with a lot of regional disparity. There have been a lot of people from the rural areas of Bangladesh to Dhaka, and Dhaka has been overburdened. Rise of sea level is one of the important factors, but there have been economic slowdown in lot of regional, countrysides. So that is also happening. We cannot just deny it. Therefore, even if there are possibilities of out-migration from this region to Dhaka or other cities of Bangladesh, but there are also possibilities of in-migration from those areas which have been completely neglected by, quote-unquote, GDP growth in the country. That needs to be kept in mind.
Okay.
But my proposition, as I said earlier, first of all, we need to understand the border as a human habitation. That needs to be taken very seriously. I was also proposing, can we develop the border areas as a destination for the tourists and also hub for economic activities? Can we also build up these areas as industrial belts? Unless and until we can develop it into the hubs of economic activities and consider it as human habitation, probably we will not be in a position to stop the migration.
Okay, Swapnil Barua, is that proposition feasible?
Yes, it's absolutely feasible. I think I would suggest all of you to go to the Dawki border. The other side is called Jaflong, and it is one of the most popular tourist destinations of Bangladeshi people. They come and they also, the river is just a line drawn by a rope. And still people are keeping the border sanctity intact, I think, so far as tourists are concerned, if we go to see the Dawki River and Jaflong on the other side. But as I was saying, the Indian influence on the Bangladeshi is very rare. Just about a year ago, I had driven from Guwahati to Dhaka. The only single project was in Hobbyganj, was a power plant which is coming up under the NTPC. But otherwise, the Chinese presence from highway building to power generation to building, I think is very significant. But the other thing which I was trying to say is that we are fortunate enough in a sense that Bangladesh is now only not looking at India as the country to migrate, but they are becoming an international migrating community, at least for the summer. I think, and a lot of boat people which are going to Europe, I think recently we had about 100 people from Bangladeshi origin dying in Greece because the boats couldn't reach there. So that migration diplomatically, if we can encourage in some way.
But Shyamkanta Mohanto, final comments. I'm running short of time. Shyamkanta Mohanto, I think the government of Mr. Sarbananda Sonowal, that is the Assam government, is taking a lot of initiative of late in improving connectivity. And that is the reason why there was so much of excitement when the Guwahati-Dhaka flight was introduced. The fact that the SpiceJet or whatever did not allow itself to settle down and did not wait for a certain period to see whether there are passengers or not is a different issue. But Assam government, you cannot deny the fact that Assam government is trying to do a lot.
Exactly.
Last couple of months.
SpiceJet flight will start again because this is a feedback we have given in this platform itself. The flight cannot be Guwahati-Dhaka, it will be through Sylhet.
Absolutely.
Sylhet is a business area and we need to see, tourism can be a big boost both sides. Meghalaya, as I say, Dada has said about that point, it can come to Meghalaya and Assam. Tourism is going to open up Bangladesh in a big way, and I'm sure government of Assam is doing an excellent job in terms of Indo-Bangladesh connective part.
Correct.
I'm confident the flight will come back. I'm confident Indo-Bangladesh situation will improve drastically in coming days. My only worry is that my immigration issues should be taken care of.
Absolutely. Krip Chalia?
See, I don't believe that immigration from Bangladesh and the subsequent conflict that has and destabilizing forces that have been unleashed in Assam
Yeah.
can be so easily sent back to the past. Because Bangladesh, if you remember, the people of Bangladesh origin came from quite a long time. At one point of time, don't forget, under Grow More Food, the infiltration was encouraged.
Let's not go into all that now. I have no time.
No,
Your
we
final
have no
comments.
time. That's the problem. We have no time. That's what I'm saying. That, I mean, if we make a cut off a particular point, then you go on arguing, and then argue on very superficial things, then we cannot come to the answer. I think we need serious consideration. This is a serious
Serious
problem,
subjects
and
require
we have to
serious consideration.
consideration.
Final comments, Rupam Goswami.
No, BJP has really trying hard to solve all the pending issues that India has. So we have solved the border issues. Now we are also trying to solve this that infiltrators issues. We are keep on, because these were so many long pending, like 70 years old issues. It's very hard to solve after so many years. So definitely we are trying hard, and we believe we can solve it very well.
Okay. Dijan Sharma, 10 seconds.
Urgent need is to complete the border fencing so that this...
It's already completed. Only 5% or 6% is left.
That 5% is very dangerous. It should be completed, and this influx should be stopped. And what the Akhil Ranjan Datta and the Sam Kando Mondo has raised, that this border train and other things, that modern thing can be started, be tried.
That can begin. Dr. Akhil Ranjan Datta, last words.
I think multiple strategies have to be explored as far as the migration is concerned. I'll demand that caste should be withdrawn at the very first instance if the people of the region have to be taken into confidence for settling this migration issue.
All right. This is only the beginning of a discussion. This is not going to end until many years to come. Perhaps at least in the next election, Bangladesh will be one of the focal points. Whether we are, whether it is on issues of expelling and detecting foreign nationals.
Can I make a point here?
Yes.
I think the country which has prepared 100 crore Aadhaar cards is the regulated entry or exit along the Bangladesh border is very technically possible. That should be done.
Biometrics.
And we have taken biometrics and done the latest kind of technology. It is possible.
It's possible.
And I
use lot of technology.
Best technology, but do it.
Absolutely. Use whatever you can, but stop the influx. I thank all my panelists for participating in this engaging discussion. Viewers for watching the program. Thank you very much indeed. Good night and goodbye.
Thank you.
Northeast Tonight, brought to you by Oil India Limited, conquering newer horizons.